For some reason, Gentry's Marvelous Exotic Zoo has seen fit to sponsor this podcast. Gentry Zoo claims to have the most dangerous collection of dinosaurs, aberrations, oozes, demons, devils, vermin, monsters, magical creatures, animated constructs, automatons, elementals, and Cthulhus. Enter at your own risk. The estimated survival chance is approximately 50%, and that sounds very reasonable to me. Maybe I can pick up a new familiar.
All the tabletop role-playing news. We aim to amuse and we aim to enthuse. And Morrus's unofficial tabletop RPG.
Hello, and welcome to Morrus's unofficial tabletop RPG talk. I am Russ, aka Morrus or Morrus, aka Russ, and with me this week is
Peter Coffey from the Southampton Guild of Role Players. Russ, as ever, it's a delight and a veritable pleasure to be here.
Got a guest.
Hi, I am Matt Corley, and I'm just very happy to be here.
Huzzah!
Actually, really excited. I love it.
We're very happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Bright and early on a Monday morning.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly introduce you, and just so the listeners know who you are, and then we can delve into your stuff a bit later in the podcast. But Matt, you're producing. You're an RPG designer, amongst other things, but you're producing a charity based RPG adventure for an organisation called Friends of Kids with Cancer, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, it is. It's an organization that, I know we'll talk about this later, but, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer on February 2nd, and they came in to our room the second day we were there and handed her a gift card. And as you can imagine, it was a rough weekend. And at that point, she changed. Yeah. Nothing like giving a kid money. I mean, honestly, she just immediately sent me out the door to go spend it. And they have been amazing. And so Harp's great, feeling so much better now. She probably will run through the background here at some point. And so now that we're feeling better, we want to do something for them.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will talk all about that in a bit, but shall we jump into some RPG news?
I suppose you could.
Do you remember last week we mentioned the poll for the top 10 D&D monsters?
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes.
Well, I have the results.
Yeah.
You do look excited. You look very excited.
I'm excited. I'm trying to see if I was right. I mean, I could think of some that I like.
You know what? Would be number one?
I'm going to have to go SRD because I have to write. So when I write, I have to use the SRD, so I can't really go from the whole catalog. Although whole catalog, I love Illithids, of course, Beholders and such. But probably one of my favorite SRD is actually the Gibbering Mouther.
Oh.
Okay.
They're so much fun, and they are never used. And they will mess up a party.
I don't think I ever have used one, actually.
I'm trying to think. In the wild. Tell me about the Gibbering Mouther.
So it's what is it? A CR2, I think? CR1 and 2? It's pretty. So it's low CR. However, since it gibbers, it will actually basically make everybody confused, per the spell. And all of a sudden, you can have your first level, second level party basically kill each other. It's a great time for everybody. It just introduces so much chaos. It is so much fun.
The monster's not that dissimilar to you, Peter.
Peter scribbles notes furiously. Yes, you'll get yours, Morrus. Well, I'm running a sort of a West Marches game with lots of bizarre monsters and monstrosities. So reskinning something to look like a Gibbering Mouther Seems like it'd be loads of fun.
Yeah, a little herd of Gibbering Mouthers, even at CR2, can mess up anybody because they all have their own saving throws. And that's how I kind of look at it from the math perspective occasionally. And, you can do 4 or 5 Gibbering Mouthers can actually take out a pretty good level party, especially if the players kind of get into it and and do the confusion and try to kill each other. It's interesting. It's fun. It's fun. So anyway.
What would you say your favourite monster is then, Peter?
What's my favourite monster? You know what? I do have a bit of a soft spot for the Flame Skull.
Okay.
I know it's an unusual choice. I think they're quite cute the way they float around, casting flames at people. But failing that, I think I can do terrible, terrible things with hobgoblins mounted on giant wolf spiders. That's the sort of thing. It's like, no, we shouldn't have let Peter have a battle mat. This is a dreadful mistake. We regret everything.
So, shall we find out whether or not Gibbering Mouthers, Hobgoblins, or Flame Skulls are in the top 10 monsters then?
Huzzah! Yes.
Okay then. So number 10
Yes.
was
Yes.
that old favourite, the Mimic.
The Mimic! Oh, classic.
They're good. That is a good one.
Oh, they're made. No, I haven't seen a Mimic in the wild for ages. In fact,
There's nothing like sitting on a toilet and discovering it's a Mimic.
That's a voice of experience right there.
Or having a Mimic map. You can have a Mimic inside a Mimic. Come on now.
Ooh.
So yeah, Kobold did that. They actually have a series of Mimics in one of their books. I think it was Tome of Beasts. And one of them was a Mimic map. So you pick up a map and it's actually a Mimic.
That would ruin your day.
Yeah. That's good times. That's good fun. What ruined my day?
Yeah.
Okay, number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9 is the Displacer Beast.
Oh, I do like a Displaced Beast.
Another solid choice.
Again, that's one I've never used. Yeah, I've never used the Displacer Beast. Not sure why.
I've used Blink Dogs on more than one occasion. I keep going back to the Blink Dogs as the traditional enemy of Displaced Beast. But yeah, have I actually used one? I think I have. Yeah, it's just like...
Is that the one with the big arms coming out of their backs, aren't they?
Yeah, the
it
tentacles.
looks like a panther with tentacles.
Yeah. All right. Then. Well, that's number 9. Number 8 is the Kobold.
Of course.
Hey!
A
solid
pretty
choice.
favourite, that one.
Okay.
Yeah, a solid choice. Use those. What is this, the Kobold dance you're doing?
I'm quite a big fan. You know what? I've forgotten kobolds actually technically count as monsters. I've just reminded that today, this very day, is actually the 1-year anniversary of our kobold campaign, which is a party of all kobolds all the time playing through Horde of the Dragon Queen.
And getting massacred, I take it.
You would be surprised. It's well, because they're all really good at dexterity. They tend to go first, and when you have like monks and rogues and so forth, they also tend to hit ridiculously hard. So it's like Team Alpha Strike.
Fair enough. I like kobolds as those nasty little trap-making critters. I like outfitting a kobold warren with tons and tons and tons of nasty little...
That's what I want to write. I keep forgetting to tell or ask Wolfgang if I can pitch it to him. I guess I don't have to ask to pitch, but a kobold warren and have it all be like CR half and CR1 kobolds, but make it for like level 12. And just have the traps and everything. I mean, if you use tactics, all you have to do is sit up there behind cover and just shoot you 50 times.
Do you know what I think Kobold Press should do? They should do a level 1 to 20 campaign featuring nothing but kobolds.
You know what? We can pitch that. We can pitch that.
Just this massive kobold mega dungeon.
You know what? I think you could totally do it too, actually.
That would be... horrifying but awesome. Yes, I can say that. Yes, but someone else would have to run. I don't know if I could. So many kobolds. So many kobolds.
Okay. All right. Let's leave the kobolds behind as we move on to number 7.
Okay. Yes. What's number 7?
My number 7 is one of my favourites.
Oh.
One of the ones that I voted for. Number 7 is the Death Knight.
Death Knight.
That's iconic.
Yeah, I love the Death Knight.
Yeah, you too. Lord Soth. And, of course, Joe Manganiello's like favorite thing ever is a Death Knight, I believe. Death Knights are awesome. I'm trying to remember if I put one in a campaign once, because usually when you put one of those in your campaign ends. Not too much longer afterwards.
Well, they're basically... Lord Soth is basically D&D's Darth Vader, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. He came here to kill things and... that was about it, really.
Yeah.
It was like, I was worried I didn't even have anything else to do, just hands down.
Yeah, Lord Soth, definitely one of my favourite D&D villains of all time. Yeah. We might have to do a D&D villains poll at some point.
Okay.
And if Lord Soth doesn't win, I'll be upset.
Well,
it's your podcast. You can make him win. I mean, really. One way or the other.
We will have no such venality and corruption here. We prefer to reserve that sort of thing.
We've already
for
picked
high
number
offices
1. Now we're
land,
picking number 2 through 9 or 2 through 10.
I think it depends on how much Lord Soth is willing to pay me. Or that he's just willing to let me live. One of the two.
Right.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be the second thing. Right,
All right, number 6.
Yes.
Is that big old cubed lump of jelly, the gelatinous cube.
Ah, lovely. The source of many. You see a floating skeleton ahead of you. Huh. I reach up and tried. Ah, no! Help! It's got me.
How anyone ever came up with that monster, I don't know.
I think it was just Gary Gygax saying, "These dungeons are awfully clean."
Yes.
What keeps them so
And they're
clean?
also 5 foot square everywhere we go.
All right. I bet he probably made it up on the fly, like you said, Paul. He probably was like, you know what? You grab a skull. He's like, oh, you know what? We need to make this more interesting. You grab a skull, and all of a sudden your hand turns like to
flame beams out of his head.
I reckon so. I reckon so.
Oh, and also used in a pit trap, so someone falls down into the gelatinous cube.
That's the best way to do it. I agree.
How does it get out of that trap, though? They can't climb, can
It
it?
doesn't need to.
It can't. Exactly. Poor thing.
So it just lives there in the trap forever.
Yeah.
Well, until it starts to earth. And then, like, you try and kill the thing, and then the person that was inside then falls the rest of the way down the pit.
Okay.
I'm like, ooh, that's excessively evil.
That's going to go in that kobold adventure path that we're riding at the bottom of the pit.
I think
Kobolds riding
halfway down
gelatinous cubes.
halfway down the pit.
It's
20
stuck.
foot full.
It's
Full
stuck
60
right there in the
foot.
middle.
Precisely.
Got it.
Okay.
I'll jot my
Let's
notes
move
down.
Mark.
Number 5. Another of my favourites.
Yeah.
The incorrectly named Bear Owl.
Oh, you mean the owl bear? Yeah.
The Owl Bear.
Which is a
Or
much
Bear
more sensible
Owl.
name. Bear owl. I've never heard anything so ridiculous in my life.
It's more bear than it is owl.
It is.
Again, I forget these are monsters because I was playing a 13th Age campaign, and that was my go-to form. It was like, I'll be a bear. I'll be an owl bear.
You said it.
That was
You said it there.
almost
I saw that.
I'll be a bear. I could be an owl. No, best. Combine the two, be an owl bear.
So I saw the cover for Tales of the Margrave, which is the book I was a designer on, and the cover has that huge owl bear. And I had already finished most of the book at this point. I'd probably written 200 pages of it. I'm like, we don't have an owl bear in here, so we should probably fix that. So I wrote my adventure, and of course, I put an owl bear in it to make sure that we had one. And I love the owl bears. I think they're awesome. And you know what?
they're awesome too.
They're one of those sneaky ones because they have such a good stealth, I think it is, that they can tear through a lower level party pretty effectively, actually.
Yeah.
They're just part of that sort of fantasy tradition of just taking bits of animals and sticking them on.
Exactly.
Sphinxes and manticores and
The chimeras and all the other
Quite
things.
literally.
and bear owls. Yeah.
Fluffy murder shadows, as they're better known to their aficionados. Go on. Who's next?
Next is number 4.
Yes.
And number 4 has 4 letters in it. That's a clue.
Okay, that's nice.
The
So it's
lick.
not an orc then.
It's the Lich. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. What happens when a
Coffee's
wizard
flowing
gets
today.
too old? Yeah.
Well, it's like I could try dying, but I don't think I'd like it. I think I'd just like to stick around here. How about that? Does that work for everyone?
Tried to
Does it
die.
work
It
for you?
didn't take.
Powered kill. Right. Anyone else? Disintegrate. No. Marvellous. I'm glad we've resolved this like civilized people.
Number 3
Yes.
is an iconic D&D monster. Possibly, is it the iconic D&D monster?
If it's a
in the name.
beholder,
It's the Red Dragon.
the
The
dungeon.
Red Dragon. Oh, interesting. I'm sure that'd be number 1. The Red
But it's
Dragon.
not.
When you absolutely positively need to set everything on fire.
Yes. Yeah. I love my Red Dragon miniature. I called it a miniature, but it's about a foot tall and a foot wide, so it's...
Yeah, you whack that on the gaming table. People are like, oh, have we aired?
Yes.
Yes, we have.
Looks like it's getting serious now.
Although my wife insists, because you know, you're familiar with the one I mean, that's got like the fire coming out of its mouth. My wife insists it looks like it's puking rather than breathing fire, and once she said it, you can't unsee that.
Well, she
Ooh,
may not be
ancient red-
wrong.
Well,
Ancient
yeah.
red vomit dragon. It's just got a really
Yeah.
wicked case of indigestion.
Well,
Well, that's certainly an option, right? Now it's been knocked off its top place, and we've thoroughly mocked it. Who's in at number 2?
We've got 2 left, yeah. We've got 2 left.
Yes.
So are they going to be gibbering mouthers, hobgoblins,
Don't think mine. I'm not feeling good about my chances.
This is not the smart way to bet.
It's going to be my campaign this year to get the gibbering mouther and some more stuff.
All right, number 2
Yes.
is the Beholder.
Oh, they're a good one too.
Yeah, no surprise there, really.
No, they're great, actually. Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah. I remember reading something once, and I did it when we played the game, but I don't even know who wrote the article. Heck, it might have been years ago. I'm sure it was, where they were talking about a beholder lair and using it and making it 3-dimensional.
Oh yeah, I've done
because there's absolutely no reason why they would have a lair that is like 10 foot, those 5 foot squares, and nice and easy. Like no, it's
so you basically
vertical.
See a beholder rising out of the floor in front of you, don't you? Oh,
and then it goes up into the ceiling somewhere else, and then it comes out another one there, and it's. Just...
I can fly. You can't fly. This is not a good tactical situation for you.
Exactly.
Oh, you thought you could fly.
What
this is what I call an anti-magic cone.
What I did once was I armoured a beholder. So it had like big, heavy sort of iron armour with great big sort of mouthpiece with teeth and stuff, and it was amazing.
Nice.
When I had my lower level one, and my players knew that every once in a while I would throw something that was way beyond their CR, because I kind of fall with the Savage Worlds rule, which is adventures are what they are, and you know what, you can't just choose to only have monsters and creatures of your own level. That's just not the way it works. It's like a Cthulhu thing too. And I threw one that was basically a spore that looked like a beholder, and I just sat at the miniature in front of them. And it just moved really slow, and they were all just hitting. I hold my action. Just like 2 rounds of combat when no one did anything. Took about 30 minutes, but it was actually really fun.
Yeah,
I was waiting for them to shoot it so it explode into a thing of spores and fill the entire canyon up, but I didn't get them that time.
Was it last week someone mentioned... Was it storm giants using lobotomized beholders as anti-magic lanterns? Was that you, Peter, that mentioned that?
Yeah, that was me. Not original to me. I saw it on Reddit. I thought that was
that's a great idea.
Evil. Yeah, no, absolutely is. It's idea that more people
that's
need
definitely
to hear
worth
about.
stealing. Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. So that was number 2. That leaves us with number 1. I bet you can both guess now what number 1 is.
Well, it's not a dragon. It's not a beholder. So...
It's either going to be vampires or mind flayers.
It is one of those 2 things.
Mind flayers, then.
It's the mind flayer, yes.
Yeah. They're awesome. They're so good.
In fact, they got 41% of the vote. That's how strongly they showed in this poll.
Yep. Right.
That is one thing that could get me to write for DM's Guild, I think, would be because that's IP, and I can't write about it unless it's directly unless Wizards puts their name on it. I can't write about it. Yeah. They're awesome.
Yeah, and mind players are. Yeah, I'd say they're definitely one of. I'd say mind players, beholders, and dragons probably are the 3 most iconic D&D creatures, aren't they?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's Dungeons and Dragons, so
it is.
Yeah. I'm just looking at that top 10 list of how many things in there are literally D&D only. Mm-hmm. So there's no goblins in there. There's no unicorns or
no orcs.
But we've got mimic. That's D&D only, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Displacer beast. That's D&D.
True.
Kobolds. Are they D&D or have they got an origin elsewhere?
They have pre-existing work.
Yep. Okay.
As being underground spirits.
Yep. Death Knights. D&D.
D&D.
Gelatinous cubes. D&D.
Very D&D.
Bear owls. D&D.
Like man pigs.
What now?
Man pigs, bear owls. Yep.
Okay. Liches, I guess the name. No, they're not.
No, liches are older. I'm trying to remember who did that.
Undead Wizards. There's like a.
Yeah,
it was before. Gary grabbed that from somebody. Gosh, what? I know it wasn't Tolkien. It was Gary grabbed that from somebody else. I can't remember who it is now.
Russian folklore has. I can't remember his name right now. Some.
Koshay?
Remember it? Yeah, there we go. Koshay the Deathless. Who had kept his heart in like a little sealed box inside an egg, which is a good trick.
On an island guarded by a something weird. The Russian myths are awesome. They're so bizarre sometimes, but yeah, they're great.
They are absolutely. Dragons, I think there is prior art existing.
I think we can safely say dragons have been around.
Yeah, and then Beholders and Mind Flayers are definitely 100% D&D creations.
Actually, Mind Flayers are Brian Lumley.
Oh, are they?
The Burrowers. That's what I've.
That sort of thing.
The Burrowers from that was one of his old H.P. Lovecraft things. So
Titus something.
So that's a good story. Actually, they're very different, but they're also an underground tentacle-y thing that is super psychic. So I think that's where the inspiration came from. The Illithids that Gary and everybody did are definitely different. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see all those. Nowadays, everything's coming out about all the history and all the different, with Arneson and Gary and Rob Arndt. Rob Arndt, somebody I went to school with. Rob Kuntz. Yeah, there's some pretty interesting stuff back there, actually. So,
Rob Kuntz has just agreed to start a column on my website, actually, which is quite exciting.
Oh, that is awesome. That's really, really cool.
That is awesome.
Bravo.
Lots of old TSR anecdotes coming this way.
Yeah. I think Beholders are probably more original than Mind Flayers, I would say.
Yeah.
Mind Flayers basically look like Cthulhu.
Yep.
Like little baby Cthulhu's running around.
It is, exactly.
It's like
They're cuddly.
Yeah.
Have you hugged a Mind Flayer today?
Yes. Well, remember, they need lots of walks and exercise, otherwise they get touchy.
Right,
is there more actual news that we can talk about?
There is some actual news, yes.
Oh, really? Oh, well, I don't know if we're ready for this, but go on then.
Let's do it.
Do you remember that 5e-powered video game, Solasta Crown of the Magister, that was announced a while back, and there's been a trailer and stuff like that?
That's the one where they're supposed to be, like, when you're going through the dungeon, like, the floor will break open beneath you, and you can climb up and down. It has a full 3 dimensions. That was the ambitious plan.
Yeah. So there's now a gameplay trailer and a demo. If unlike me, you're not using a Mac, so I can't try this demo out myself. But on Steam, there's a demo of it. But from the gameplay trailer, it looks amazing. I'm just like I'm almost tempted to go out and buy a Windows PC just to play this demo.
Make the switch.
It looks that good. You got characters on multiple levels on the same screen, climbing up walls and jumping off things. You got spiders coming along the walls rather than the floors.
Nice.
It's just this sort of 3D. They call it verticality, isn't it? Is the word they've used to describe it. It looks amazing.
Okay, well, I might have a look at that. Preferably when I'm not on a Linux box.
What else do we have in the news? We have got a new Ancestry previewed by Paizo.
Oh, yes, for Pathfinder 2nd edition.
So, what was it? We had Hobgoblins last week, didn't we?
Yes, that's right.
Yes. So this week we have Leshies. These are apparently...
It's like a sort of minor demon.
I think they're like Groots.
Groups?
What? Like from Guardians of the Galaxy. Groot.
Oh,
I am
okay,
Groot.
Groots.
They're like nature spirits given form. They're plant people.
Oh, fair enough. Okay,
yeah, they're small sized. They gain sustenance from the sun.
Yeah, okay.
And they can shoot seed pods at people.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. There you go.
So that's I am Groot, but they shoot seed pods.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
I am Groot, but they'll give you a really bad case of hay fever straight away.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Oh, well done, Payday. Well done. Okay, moving on.
Do you guys know who Chuck Tingle is?
Oh, I keep seeing that on Rob Schwab's page. Robert Schwab from Demon Lord.
Is this the author?
Is this real?
Yes.
That's what I keep saying. Rob keeps saying it's real, but I'm not convinced that Rob's not screwing with us all.
Well, I am looking at the Amazon page for the book right now, so I'm...
But they write romances for given values of romance.
Well...
and have season either topical lately, as I recall.
So,
the last couple of years.
What we have here is the Tingleverse, the official Chuck Tingle role-playing game.
Oh, man.
Be still my beating heart.
It's available on Amazon now. Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with the books myself, but
are you sure you're not deeply versed with his corpus, as it were?
Well, I guess I'm going to have to become deeply versed with his Corpus?
Corpus.
That's what you call the body of his works, usually.
It's corpus.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
Because that's got the green guy, like in the romance novel pose, that's like half naked, right, on the front?
Yeah, yes.
I don't know how Rob.
down.
Yeah, Schwab saw that posted on Facebook, and it just went a little crazy. At least with all the nerds that follow Rob, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, well, this
basically. I forget.
It thrusts you directly into the middle of your very own Chuck Tingle story, and you can play a Bigfoot, a dinosaur, a human, or a unicorn.
They've got their bases covered.
Yeah, I mean,
what else is there?
Covering,
Yeah.
It's very comprehensive covering of all possible archetypes right there.
Yeah. There's also 5 character types: bad boy, I guess they're the races, and then the sort of classes type thing: bad boys, charmers, sneaks, true buckaroos, and wizards.
And wizards. Just put that under and a wizard.
Yeah,
just one though.
Yeah.
And you have to wear a pointy
and a
hat,
wizard,
probably.
yes.
What kind of? No, don't tell me what kind of. No.
Well, that's basically all I know about it. I can't really tell you much more. But I guess if you are a Chuck Tingle fan, then
this is
hop on over to Amazon and
news.
grab the role-playing game.
Passions all across the Tingleverse. Yes. Anyway,
the Tingleverse.
Yes. Why? What a time it is to be alive. I should live so long has to see this. Yes.
Why not?
I have many people that I need to tell about this. Let's hurry up and do this podcast.
Should we jump from the Tingleverse to Eberron?
Yes, let's.
Before Peter actually explodes.
I'm sorry, I'm just so excited.
Just can't contain yourself.
I've become overstimulated by this talk of the Tingleverse.
Tingle corpus. The Tingle corpus has made you stimulated.
Do you need to take a moment, Peter? Do you need to...
Oh, I'm already writing up my character, which will be a Sasquatch true buckaroo, thrust into the middle of the most daring adventure. But will they be able to get out of the holes that the GM puts them in? That's the question.
Who knows?
Exactly. It will be a mystery. Eberron, you say?
Eberron. I think we've beaten this horse to death.
I did try deftly to steer the conversation onto Eberron, but I failed completely, apparently.
You did. But yeah, you tried, and that's the important thing.
Yes.
You're contributing.
Right, so Eberron.
Yes.
So Jeremy Crawford from Wizards of the Coast, and Bart Carroll, also from Wizards of the Coast, appeared on Twitch, as they do, about 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning, as they do.
The most social of times.
Prime time.
And they revealed a whole load of information about the upcoming Eberron book. They made no mention of the cover, or whether or not that is still a placeholder cover, or whether that cover's being replaced. But
have they confirmed or denied whether those are placeholder races that they're going with?
I'm assuming that's not the case.
Oh, okay.
So they essentially just went through the book quickly. So there's a article on EN World just sort of summarising the entire hour-long Twitch stream where they describe the book. So you could go and actually watch it if you want to, or you can just read the summary.
Okay.
It's probably too long for me to just list right here. I think it's the sort of thing I'd just say, check the show notes, go and have a look.
Yeah.
And you'll basically see a description of the entire book, chapter by chapter there.
Any highlights?
Let's have a look. So we start with an overview of Eberron, as you'd expect. We've got dragon-marked houses as fantasy corporations. Rules and stories for playing Warforged, Changelings, Kalash, Star, Shifters, Goblins, Hobgoblins, Bugbears, and Orcs. Full rules for the Artificer.
Oh, that's nice.
Including features for making common and uncommon magic items.
Yep.
Aberrant Dragonmark feats. Group patron rules. For the late 19th, early 20th style century organisations like newspapers, criminal syndicates, universities, spy rings, stuff like that.
Yep.
Possibility of the party becoming their own patron, for example, creating your own crime syndicate. That's all just chapter 1, by the way. That's one chapter.
Right.
You see what I mean? It's a long list.
Wow. So this is like a 1,000-page book.
Yeah, it's a pretty big book.
Otherwise,
yeah.
we're getting one paragraph, which isn't as interesting as I had thought, because I was pretty excited about some of these.
So what I'm hearing here is they took one look at Acquisitions Incorporated, like, yeah, we can do better.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Let's just whack it in your okay? Yeah.
Well, chapter 4's a 100-page adventure creation toolkit.
100 pages.
A whole bunch of adventure building tables
toolkit.
and maps and organisation information.
Okay.
A first-level adventure, stuff like that. So if you want to create your own Eberron-based adventures, that's how you do it. We've got Eberron-specific monsters. I mean, I could just read things off this page like for the next half hour.
That's why
People
I
should
asked
just
for
go.
highlights for us.
Yeah, people. People can go and have a look. I think there's Warforged colossi the size of skyscrapers, and one of the maps is a fallen Warforged colossi as a dungeon.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sounds quite cool. Living spells, a living cloud kill.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, and
Lots
lots more.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I look forward to finding more about Eberron. Yep.
Right, more on D&D. Unearthed Arcana,
Yes.
Sorcerer and Warlock options.
Those are two of my favorites. I like warlocks, I like sorcerers, and I like monks. Those are probably my favorites.
Interesting.
I like sorlocks. Sorlocks.
Sorlocks.
We need more sorlocks.
Warcerers.
No, it's definitely Sorlocks. Where we take like some levels in Warlock, then you start taking levels in Sorcerer, and then you have the Meta Magic feat, which lets you sacrifice your spell slots to create extra magic points, or magic points to make extra spell slots.
But you are, of course, playing a Bigfoot when you do this.
Of course.
Sometimes, or a unicorn.
Or a unicorn.
Yeah. Unicorns are the best ones. They have the high charisma mod. But then again,
and
Bigfoot
those
has
big
the
pointy
advantage on-
horns.
Well, that is true. That does help in melee, but it's generally like Bigfoot's got the Constitution saves for like any melee combat. So that's
Yeah, you got to keep your concentration going. So yeah, the
You've got to
Constitution's
keep
very
concentration
nice.
going. Otherwise, what are you even doing? Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It all
I'm not
matches.
sure
It all goes together somehow.
Yeah. Russell
Anyway.
convinced.
The sorcerer in this new Unearthed Arcana gets a new sorceress origin feature, the Aberrant Mind.
Okay.
The warlock gets another worldly patron, which is the Lurker in the Deep. Wasn't that the name of the creature outside Moria in Lord of the Rings?
The
pool.
Watcher in the Deep.
Was that the Watcher in the Deep? Is that? Oh, okay.
Pretty sure. But yeah, close enough. And also, isn't this basically the same thing as a great old one?
I was just thinking, wow. So it's Cthulhu.
Great old one, version 2.0.
But I think the great old ones are out in space, aren't they? Whereas the Lurker in the Deep are maybe underwater.
Well, there's at least one underwater.
Well, there is one, particularly notable one, yeah.
And Lost View there.
There is this one.
Yeah.
There's
May
this
have
one
heard of
guy.
it.
There's always one, isn't there? God.
And there's also a new cantrip, the Mind Sliver, in this Unearthed Arcana from Wizard of the Coast.
Maybe the Lurker in the Deep doesn't actually do much. They're just like
Lurks,
reading everything.
yes, and-
Yeah, just looking at everything. And occasionally, like they break their cover and like drop comments and then disappear, never to be seen again. Sorry, we digress.
You very much digress. Yeah. Should we digress into hell?
Yeah, go on.
Sure.
Let's digress the hell out of this digression.
You
Yes.
could say we might even descend into it.
Descend into hell, or one particular layer of hell.
I'm listening.
Avernus, which is coming out
Yes.
very, very soon. I think is it next week? It's next week, I think.
Is it?
The 17th. So the next week or the week after. What's it now?
Today's the 9th.
That's next week then. Yeah.
It is
next
next
Tuesday.
week, yeah.
So
Is it next Tuesday?
yeah.
Perfect timing for the podcast.
yeah, the day after the podcast comes out. Yeah. So
Timely.
on Twitter, Newbie DM
Yeah.
has gotten hold of an early copy of it,
Yes.
and he's been posting loads and loads and loads of images of the interior. I mean, we're talking dozens here. Loads and
He
loads.
has posted a lot. I
A
saw
lot.
those. I'm like, I wonder if he got in trouble. Because that is a lot. And most of the folks that I've known that work with wizards, I mean, even people that I know pretty well, I don't find out until, like, I look at the book. Because
Yeah.
Wizards is pretty tight-lipped about their stuff. So I'm curious if I don't know. I saw it. It's great. But that was the first thing when I'm like, man, is he getting in trouble with is Mike Merle sending him an email saying, you need
he's
to
done this
check
before,
it out.
though.
Oh, so then they know.
So I'm
okay,
guessing
so then probably not.
Yeah.
So he's a known leak. Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they send him the books. I don't think he's.
Sure.
I don't think he's like breaking into some warehouse somewhere and stealing them. Or maybe he is.
That would be a good game.
Or doing something dreadful like you, Morrus, and reporting stuff from Amazon.
Yeah, they hate it when I do that. Yeah. So, of those many pictures, and I strongly suggest people just follow the link and go and have a look at them themselves. I selected a few that I quite like the look of. So the first one was just a little section on life in the Nine Hells.
Yes.
Where it helpfully tells you that Nine Hells is a place of abject misery where nobody is happy.
Oh, it's like Birmingham then.
Harsh.
I do apologise to all our listeners from Birmingham. No one came with me.
All of our ex-listeners from Birmingham.
Yeah, okay,
Well,
fine.
see, it's
Still
funny because
true.
you guys are saying Birmingham. I know you're being in England, but I actually was born in Birmingham, Alabama, in the U.S., which could work there too. It's a great place. It's a great place.
I'm sure it
Lots
is.
of happy people. It's not like Nine Hells. Anyway.
It is hot.
Sorry, Avernus.
There's also this gorgeous two-page spread, full-page, two-page spread painting of Baldur's Gate,
Nice.
which is one of the most beautiful pieces of art I think I've ever seen in a D&D book. It's lovely. It's really worth checking it out, and it's massive as well, like both pages.
Nice.
It shows how there's a flow chart for the adventure,
Okay.
just so you can follow it along on the different bits, showing the different sections, what levels they're for, and brief summaries.
Yep.
There's a picture of what's his name, Joe Manganiello's character,
Which one? The Dragonborn?
the Dragonborn one. Yep.
Yep.
There's a series of stained glass windows. Apparently, that's by Claudio Posas, showing the fall of Zariel into Avernus in a series of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different stained glass window paintings.
That sounds very nice. Yeah.
Some stats for Tiamat. I don't know if they differ to the ones that they've already published.
What's she now? CR30?
She's 30, yeah. What was she before?
Don't know.
No idea.
I just like saying, what's something ridiculous for a CR to be 30? Yep, okay. Isn't Tiamat supposed to be in charge of some part of hell?
I believe so.
I think
she have a level?
I think she used to be in charge of level 1,
Right.
but isn't anymore. I think she's now imprisoned there or something. Because it's quite
That's a hell of a
interesting,
level
because
1
hell
boss.
is lawful evil, isn't it?
I believe that's the idea.
Yeah.
On this
Devils.
this page here, Tiamat, straight
Yes.
from Avernus, gargantuan fiend, chaotic evil.
Oh, so she's a demon-ish. Yes.
Well, I think it's more that Tiamat is a law unto herself, and if you want to try and persuade her otherwise, then she'll eat you. How about that?
Every time I think
compromise,
Tiamat, I think of the
negotiate.
cartoons from the
Yeah.
80s. That's
Oh,
that's the
that-
only thing I can ever think of whenever I think of Tiamat.
Yeah, what else do we have in the news? We have got some information, a review, basically, about Dungeons, Mayhem, and Dice Accessories, which is a sort of collection of bits and pieces for Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. So it's some themed dice, poster maps, what else we got? A dice tray, a sort of velvet-lined dice tray, some handouts, a card with 20 trinkets that can be found in Avernus, and a card with 20 Avernus-specific encounters, and 17 cards highlighting a variety of demons and devils, from imps to abyssal chickens to Baelors.
Oh, yes, the Abyssal Chicken, a.k.a. the Carnivorous Boot.
Yes,
I remember it well. What? What it looks like.
I can't disagree.
I got nothing.
Yeah. What else is there? There's a card game. So if you've heard of the D&D Dungeon Mayhem card game, which I have not, but it is a card game that exists apparently. There's an it's an expansion called Battle for Baldur's Gate,
Okay.
which adds two 28-card decks, which add the characters Jaheira, the shapeshifting druid, and Minsk the ranger.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
I mean, that's to do with the miniaturized giant space hamster, right?
You know Boo, obviously.
Boo.
Like,
Yeah.
Go for Dice Boo. Yeah.
Everybody
We know who the important one in that relationship is. Yeah.
Yes. There's only one last bit of news, which is a slightly self-serving one. The Masterclass Codex. Now that all the Kickstarter rewards have been fulfilled, you can now go and buy it.
So you can play with any of the
16
brand new 16. Oh, sorry, it's 14 in the player's handbook. It's 16 in the Masterclass Codex of all those different and exciting classes.
Yes, I believe you have a copy of that book, do you not, Peter?
I do have a copy of this book. Yeah,
which you have traditionally licked to assert your ownership.
And to assert dominance. God, yes. Those classes know who's in charge.
Have you started using it yet? Have you had a chance to?
We've had we've had an alchemist and a bloodweaver so far.
Awesome.
They popped into my game, so yeah.
Jolly good.
Looking forward to seeing a couple more.
Well, that is available on Amazon and on Drive-Thru.
Yes.
I like the novel. So I actually had Touch of Class. Are there 3 or 2? I might get myself confused.
There's a Touch Class, there's a Touch More Class, and then a Masterclass Codex is a compilation.
Okay, so I have Touch More Class.
Yeah.
And I like the novel. I threw the Frankenstein one. Which I'm totally spacing the actual name of that one, but the Frankenstein-esque one, I had one of my players play one of those, and it was really neat, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, she really liked it.
Nice.
I think we finished the news.
Have we finished the news?
The news is done. There is no more news.
Oh. It's an X-News show.
Yes.
So I started quoting Monty Python, so I think we should stop.
It's time to play our favourite game. It's time to play the game. Our favourite game in all the world. Guess the Kickstarter from just the name.
So shall we play our favourite game in all the world?
Yes, we should. That's because it's our favourite game in all the world.
It is our favourite game.
I've got a blue and black deck, and it's focused on control and... Wait, no, sorry, our other favourite game in all the world.
I can't afford that game anymore.
Our favourite game in the world, as our listeners actually know, is the game where I read out the name of a Kickstarter and you try to guess what it is from just the name.
Yes.
And Peter, you're very, very good at losing this game. Silence. Would you like to go first, Peter?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right then. Let's go. Number 1 is, can you guess what is Eldritch Century?
I think Eldritch Century is... from the name, I think it's some sort of Call of Cthulhu inspired gaming. It's probably produced by a Mexican company, and it's all about sort of early 20th century gaming. Heavy focus on models, possibly diverting into a wargaming setting. And I think one of the creators may be a chap called Angus Abramson.
So you know what this one is then, do you?
So that was oddly specific.
Not that it's being made by a mutual friend of ours, Russ, so maybe you should pay attention to that.
I didn't know he was involved with this at all.
Okay. Well, today you've learned. No, it's fair enough. It's a known issue in geek space where people are working on awesome stuff and then don't let the people that they know about it. I do know Eldritch Century.
Okay. Well, it's what you just said it was. It's by a Mexican company called Draco Studios. It's a 290-page core RPG core book compatible with D&D 5th edition. And it's set in a setting called The Wounded Earth, which is 1984, 66 years after the miasma appeared in the Argonne Forest, wiping out 1/3 of the American Expeditionary Force and driving the Great War to an abrupt ceasefire.
Well, there you go.
So I can't give you any points for that because that's just not fair.
No.
Well, he did say 1920s, and it is 1980s, so he's totally wrong.
Completely wrong.
Almost 1918 and 66 years. The thing being started in the 1920s is obviously very little to do with it. Yeah, I did say it was by Angus, so yeah, I'll let you know.
Right, what have we got? This is interesting. What is TBD?
So this is a Kickstarter that you back, where you don't actually know what you're getting, and you don't find out until until it has actually been fulfilled, because it is to be determined. So it's really more like a giant mystery box.
That's exactly what it is.
That's actually what I've decided.
That is exactly what it is.
Oh, nice.
I think we did one similar to this last week. That's why I was
There was
ringing
one
about.
that was very similar, yeah.
This
but
is
it wasn't
almost
called TBD.
Yeah, this is
You
almost
just give them money, and they decide what you get based on how much money you give them.
yeah.
I think that's actually kind of brilliant. So,
Novel.
So
Novel,
it's a great Kickstarter campaign, very similar to the one. It's almost identical to the one we did last week, actually, because the theme, mechanics, and twists are determined by backer votes during the funding period, which is exactly what the one last week did, isn't it?
Was that? That wasn't called TBD.
No, it's a different one. It's a different one, but
That
it's
was a different one,
exactly
yeah.
the same idea.
Yeah.
Two people
Now,
have
I guess there's plenty of room for people to say, well, the backers will tell us what we want, and then we'll make it.
yeah, exactly. We'll just throw out 4 graphics, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
as we
why
go.
not?
Right.
Yeah, this is by Water Bear Games.
Okay.
They have previously published games, including Discount Salmon.
I don't know about discount salmon. I like my salmon to be. I don't know. That's something you spend a little extra on occasionally because you really don't want to get sick. But
Bees, all caps, with an exclamation, with 5 E's and an exclamation mark at the end.
This sounds like a Nicolas Cage meme reference, yes.
And the letter Go.
Okay, so we will be sure to give them money, yes.
Yes.
When does this Kickstarter end?
5
how are they
days
doing?
to go. It ends on Sunday, which is a terrible day to end a Kickstarter because no one's around. But it ends on Sunday. It's done about half of its funding goal, so it's going to be a close one if it does it.
Okay, well, I'm sure we wish them all the
wait,
best
it
of
ends
luck.
on this Sunday,
Yeah.
so it ends
Yeah.
in
Coming
6 days.
Sunday.
Yes.
Good luck to them. Last week is tough.
Good luck to them, yeah. And I think, Matt, you've scored 100% there because that is exactly what you said.
Yay! Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Uh,
I was looking at the list of Kickstarters this week. There are quite a lot of really, really great ones, but they're all ones that I know that you will know of or that you will be able to get straight away. There's like, this is why I kind of went to some of the more obscure, smaller ones down the bottom of the list.
Oh, okay, thanks.
But, I mean, there was like Numenera Liminal Shores, which I know perfectly well both of you are going to know what that is.
Fair.
There's Lost City
Shannon
of Gaxmore 5e.
Yep, Luke and actually
Yeah.
chosen that one. Luke's doing that one.
There's Trudvang Chronicles. Mm-hmm. You know, there's the Usagi Yojimbo tabletop role-playing game.
Isn't that about a cartoon rabbit or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, Samurai Rabbit.
Yeah.
Those are neat, actually. Those are pretty cool. That's kind of a neat one. I saw that.
There's the Kings of War role-playing game by Red Scar, but we actually had him on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, so if Peter hadn't gotten that would have been embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm sure Mark, as he's listening, would have been like a shocked if I was able to get that.
So I had to go for some of the more obscure break Kickstarter ones towards the bottom, rather than those really big epic ones. Right, I think we're done. We are done with the Kickstarter. We're done with our favourite game of all the world.
But pleasure playing with you. Well played, Matt. Well played.
Why, thank you,
Right.
sir. Thank you.
Aha! Back in the town. Right. I'm going to shop for some magic items. Don't mind me. Nah, it won't be long. Talk amongst yourselves. Right, where's the rulebook?
Here we go again.
What?
You do this every time. Like, there's some kind of magic item Walmart in every town.
I'm just going by the rules. Right, let me see. I need a new Excalibur, as my last one's a bit dirty. And a couple of Mjolnirs would come in handy. I still have the One Ring. Hard to get rid of that one. But I could buy a spare.
You know, you really take the magic out of magic items.
I honestly don't know what you mean. I have all this money. Gotta spend it on something.
Yes, but magic items should be wondrous and special. Picking them off a menu makes them no more exotic than a bag of carrots.
Ooh, hand effector. That'll be handy. Get handy. See what I did there?
Yeah, you make that same joke every time.
What else do I need? A couple of dragon lances, a dragon orb, and a holy grail.
You already have a holy grail.
Oh, you can never have too many holy grails. Right, what else? Let's see. Aladdin's lamp. Yeah, magic carpet. Oh, a witch's broom. Got to keep that carpet clean. Noah's Ark and the Flying Dutchman.
Oh, this is getting ridiculous. Look, exactly how are you going to carry all this stuff?
Well, that is a good point. Right, I need some hirelings. Caddies, if you will. I can hire a few dozen for about 30 years to spare change in my pocket. Now, what else do I need?
I'm putting my foot down. There is no magic shop in this town. You can't simply choose things from the rulebook and add them to your character sheet. It lacks...
Potency?
No.
Expedience?
No, it certainly has plenty of that.
Imagination?
Well, yes, but no.
Verisimilitude?
Ah, yes, that's it. It lacks verisimilitude.
Oh, yes, good point. Reminds me. 4 potions of verisimilitude as well.
What? No, stop it.
Honestly, I don't know what the problem is. I mean, they put all this stuff in the book for a reason, right?
It's there for the DM to hand out sparingly and with a splash of wonder, awe, and, yes, verisimilitude.
Look, without magic items, what can I spend all this money on? I mean, look, I have 240,000 gold pieces. If I can't buy a few mythological artifacts, this money might as well be worthless.
Well, you could buy an inn or a castle or something.
Oh, great. So instead of flying into battle atop a flying carpet as I swing Mjolnir about my head in a thunder and flash of lightning, I get to play Dungeons and Accountants as I manage my land holdings.
I'm glad you mentioned accountants, because I don't think you paid any tax on all that treasure. Right, here's form 271B. If you just fill that out while I put out the tax code. Right, let's talk about Harper's Tale then.
Yes.
So, Matt, would you like to just give us the background behind how this adventure came about?
Yeah, so, as you guys know, and then anybody who's been anywhere near my Twitter for the last, weeks, months, actually, really. Harper is my youngest daughter. She was diagnosed with leukemia on the 2nd of February. We went into the ER because she just wasn't feeling good, ended up in the hospital that afternoon, and were there for 3 weeks. And during that process, or during that time frame, I was actually finishing up a couple things that I write quite a bit for a couple companies. I was finishing up a project for Cobalt Press, which will go out next year. I was finishing up an adventure path for Sandy Peterson, which actually is going live today on Kickstarter, which I didn't know about until about a week ago. And I was also finishing up my own book the first book I ever wrote, or self-published anyway, which is a sanitarium book, Lamps Light. And so I was doing all this writing in there, and Harp likes games, and her and I both were trying to figure out ways to get our minds off things. Honestly, me especially. And we talked about it, and we're like, well, why don't we do a game? Let's just write a game together, or just do an outline or whatever. And our first idea was actually the hospital and the hospital grounds actually have a map. Of course, visitors come in. It's an enormous campus. It's actually 3 hospitals attached. All of which were in a fairly large city in St. Louis. There's 500,000 people here. The 3 hospitals are some of the biggest and best in the Midwest. So we're talking 2,000 beds. It's not a small area. And so anyway, I had the map, and I'm like, well, let's use this map, and let's turn this map into a game. The more we were talking about it and looking at it, Joe Manganiello had a thing up around then too, where Joe had gone into University of Pittsburgh or Pittsburgh Children's Hospital and played a game for a bunch of kids, and we just talked about it more, and I started reaching out to some friends of mine, and they were all on board. I'm like, you know what, let's just go for broke. And so we decided to create an adventure path, and so we actually will have 10 linked adventures, all set in a forest, because that's what Harp wanted. And the IndieGoGo went live 6 days ago on a Tuesday, because that's the day you're supposed to do IndieGoGos and Kickstarters. And it's gone well. We'll probably hit $7,000 today, maybe a little better, out of 12, and a couple of things with it. So it's really neat. Obviously for me.
What's the name of your Kickstarter? Sorry to interrupt.
See, I am so not good at self-promoting.
That's okay. That's why we're here to ask you questions.
Yeah, so the Kickstarter is called Harper's Tale, and that's because Harper is my daughter, not because of Harper's from the Adventure League, which I've gotten that question a few times, actually.
Okay.
And
that didn't even occur to me.
It was my assumption, erroneously, I admit, but there we go.
Yeah, I know. It's in a forest, and it's called Harper's Tale, and it has nothing to do with Harper's.
Exactly.
that's how we roll. We want to make sure there's a lot of clarity and obfuscation at the same time. So we have this adventure going, and again, 10 Adventures. It's written by some amazing people. I think that's one of the things I want to get across to folks is that while it is certainly written for younger audiences, anybody basically that can read can play it as far as the themes and the art. However, I mean, if just kind of going off the top of my head, I have 3 people with credits from Wizard of the Coast, people with credits from Paizo, people with credit, like 4 of 5 of us with Cobalt Press. My own stuff. I've worked with Sandy Peterson at Peterson Games. I've worked for Chaosium. And Wright Publishing, Storm Bunny. I mean, so these it's not just some guy's dad or some kid's dad put it together. And I think
game
the folks that know me know that that's not the case, but I think again others don't. So this is definitely something that industry professionals, people that have won any awards and that get paid by like Hasbro to do stuff. We are the ones involved. Yeah. It is, again, not just kind of regular folks. And I think probably the most important thing about this campaign is, even other than just, Harp helped us put together the outline and did some stuff with it too, is when we fund, all of the proceeds from the project itself are going to be donated to Friends of Kids with Cancer, which is one of the organizations that have helped us so much. They focus on the kids doing things, kind of their motto is helping kids be kids. They gave us gift cards. They have given us toys, events. They give us tickets. So they just do all sorts of stuff strictly for the children, so that they get back to doing all the things that they did ahead of time. When we fund at $12,000, we'll be writing them a check for $3,000, and then we will also, of course, I'll be giving them a bunch of PDFs. But our first stretch goal is when we actually start giving books, and that's part of the tiering too. So actually, when we fund, I'll still be giving them probably about 50 books. Yeah. So we're going to provide them these really, really nice books. And I mean, you guys have seen, everybody on here has probably seen Drive-Thru RPGs books. We're doing color premium if we can unlock it, which I think we will pretty easily, or I hope we will. So these kids, if they're interested, of course, one of the things they're going to get upon diagnosis is a Dungeons & Dragons book written by a little girl that, she helped put this together when she was diagnosed, on her second week of treatments. And, we have a lot of really, it's neat. Obviously it's heartwarming, but again, the story is actually very good too. And something written by professionals. So I don't know. I feel like I've kind of gone over there. So you let me know.
So it's like 10 sort of like short adventures, but they're all tied in over like a sort of overarching meta plot.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we're in a forest. Each adventure is going to be probably about 5,000 words-ish. I'm sure some will go over than that. For folks that don't know how that really equates, with the folks that I have writing, with the way that kind of Jess and I edit, that should be each adventure is probably going to take 4 to 6 hours. So basically one evening. And that, again, that's kind of was some of the direction I gave the writers, is that I want our games to be able to be played in one night or one session. Obviously if you go longer, that's fine. But I thought that was really important because, again, kids, we kind of have to keep that attention span down. And also the adventures need to be written in a way that you can get through them without combat necessarily. So there's a lot of puzzles, investigation, that kind of stuff.
So it's quite unusual in that, because normally you expect there to be a fairly heavy combat element.
It is not, and there's 2 pathways. So there's parallel pathways with the plot. So there is absolutely an easy, let's go get this, let's go beat these monsters, take their stuff, go to the next one. And then there's another pathway where you're getting the same stuff and accomplishing the same goals. However, you're doing it through problem solving, investigation, and role playing. So you have 2 very different paths.
The favor trading, which is like traditional fairy tale style storytelling.
We probably, I need to see, I haven't seen it yet, but one of the suggestions we put out is actually the forest itself has got a Cold War going between Zoogs, which are those little rat things with the tentacle mouths, and the cats of Ulthar. And so they have to go in the Cold War and try to work with both sides to gather the ingredients. It's really neat. And I'm a pharmacist by background. I actually work in oncology as well. So does Harper's mom. And there are things in the adventure itself too that are very analogous to, and just very that some are subtle, some are not so subtle, kind of references to that. Like in the adventure that I wrote, which is actually it's the third update in the Indiegogo. It's public. If you want to grab it, It's free. Take it.
Yeah,
enjoy
I've already
it.
read that actually.
Oh, great! Yeah, so hopefully this sounds familiar, or at least the plot line. So Periwinkle is actually in it, and Periwinkle is actually, which we all know what Periwinkle is actually used in chemotherapy. It's used to make vinblastine and vincristine, which are two very, very common medications for kids with leukemia. And so we actually have that kind of references throughout. Where again, some of that, unless you're Googling it or a pharmacist or a physician or something, may not understand that. But there are references
like Easter
that
eggs
throughout.
there that if you are,
I always put Easter eggs
that sort of
everywhere.
terminology, you're going to spot them in there. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So again, we're very, very happy with it. Very proud of it. Great support. I think our biggest challenge, like I've told you guys before, I think was that, we're on Indiegogo. So I have two kind of things that are kind of working against me a little bit, or at least making it more challenging. Because one is, as a publisher, as an indie publisher, I'm a very small publisher. I am a team of me. Me that's also working for other publishers and my day job and taking care of my kids and all that stuff. So I have a social media presence, but it's certainly not that big. The other one is that it's Indiegogo, which they have been great.
I was going to ask about that, actually. Why that rather than Kickstarter?
Yeah, so I love Kickstarter, actually. However, Kickstarter does not allow you to raise funds to be directly dispersed to a non-for-profit. And I get why. I mean, from a business perspective, I do a lot of business work for my company, actually, and I actually totally understand their reasoning and don't disagree with it at all. It's just unfortunate for me.
It just doesn't work with what you need to do with this project.
I did reach out to them and said, well, you can fund, and then anything after you fund and sell it after you've done it, then you can do it. I'm like, no, that's not how it works in the game industry. The most of my money is going to be from the crowdfunding program. So Indiegogo is super easy to work with that way. Very, very easy, actually. So that's why we did it. But again, we don't quite have that presence, or they don't quite have the presence as Kickstarter. I mean, folks, like you said, I used to go to Kickstarter every day and look at new games just to see what was out there. I'm not sure that too many folks do that with Indiegogo.
No, fair enough. So you've got the 10 sessions of play planned out, and it's like aimed presumably at what, level 1, 2?
Yep,
1
exactly.
5?
So and that's another thing. So I do it when my adventure paths that I write, because I've finished one with Sandy for Peterson Games. I have 2 more that are in the process right now. One I'm consulting on and one I'm actually writing. I do milestone leveling. It's just easier. I've done it as a DM, and I always do it as a writer, because again, I don't want to sit there and go back and oh crap, I only did 2,000 XP. I need 2,500. So let's just do something else. It's too complicated. Exactly. Some kobolds and hobgoblins riding wolf spiders. So I do milestones, and again, so at the end of each adventure, it says you have reached enough XP to go to 2nd level or 3rd or 4th, and so at the end you are 10th level. And then you have your grand finale against our protagonist Ethor, who we have a few pictures of. Who's kind of this weird amalgamation of like a goat. It's a man bat. He's man goat, or a man pig goat thing. He's pretty cool looking, actually. We have some great art too. Yeah, and that's the other thing is we have professional. I mean, again, like Ashley Warren did all the Uncaged books lately. Me, Ben, Brian have done a lot of stuff. Don, Jeff, everybody. I mean, MT Black is on there. I mean, everybody that we have is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, this
and
is
the art
a
is amazing
professional book. It's been done by game industry professionals working for like the big 3, like Paizo, Woods of the Coast, Cobalt Press. Very high quality stuff. Yourself working for KZM. Also, you've got in the artists as well. So like, there's nothing. I mean, some people might think this was a sort of a bit like a bit more homemade and so forth, but actually it's really, really high quality. It's what you're going for.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Anna Landon and Gwendy B are the 2 that are doing most of my art. They have been in Uncaged lately. It's the big one that they get. The art's all over the place. I share it whenever I can. again, that is it. I want people to look at it and say that, you know, maybe this book compares very favorably to Mad Mage, or and again, I think it will. You know, you can do a lot with a smaller budget if you're careful and kind of get the right folks involved. And that's the other thing. I mean, all of us are working. You know, and I'm not going to give specifics because I'm not, but all of us are working at a reduced rate, again, to make sure that it's an amazing book, that it is to maximize that donation to Friends of Kids. Yep. I'm trying to think of what, I mean, the cover's out, a lot of the art's, a fair amount of the art's already out, so you can see what you're actually getting. We're going to, and actually we've already got 10 people purchased the tier that is actually, they get to develop art. And so we'll get more art in it for that. I think we're probably going to end up with at least 30 pieces of original art.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then actually Cobalt Press and Peterson Games actually donated art as well. And if any other manufacturer or publishers hear this and want to donate art, please contact me via Twitter.
That's a good idea. That is a good idea.
I love
it. Didn't even occur to me that you could, yeah.
So if you have art, and I know you do,
I do.
I'm looking straight at you, Russ.
I have lots
I'm looking
of
straight at you.
Yeah, which I'm pleased to
actually,
say,
everybody's
none of
been
which I made myself, because you would not want that.
Yes, Russ has paid for lots of art, which may well be relevant for you. So yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, the art that I did for my sanitarium horror book doesn't quite fit in with a kid's adventure in the forest. But I do have some. Yeah, that's actually kind of funny. That was like one of the more interesting things that we did is, you know, myself, Ben, Brian, Don, especially, and a couple other folks, we actually our games that we write tend to be dark and horror and like Cthulhu and all that stuff, and even one or two of my newer writers. That's the kind of work we actually do. And so we're throwing out these ideas, and I kept being like, you know what, that's awesome. However, our readers are going to be about 9. So let's tone that specific part back, but let's keep the plot. So the plot is actually I think the plot is very mature, actually. I mean, again, you can see it in that adventure. If you want to download the first one, you'll get a very good idea of what it's going to look like.
No, I've read through that. I wanted to ask you about sort of Harper's involvement in developing the adventure path. Just how can you talk a bit on how that works and how much involvement she actually had there?
Sure. So it was first. I mean, so the idea that was hers. Like we started off with the map of the hospital, and then we actually got home, and I pulled up Dyson Logos maps. So Dyson, who everybody knows who Dyson is, actually has commercial use maps. You pay like $10 and you get 200. I mean, it's insane. I don't know why they should be everywhere. So we were looking through maps, and she's seeing them. And she actually saw the Archdruid hideout, I think is the name of it, on Dyson thing, and said, that's what I want. I want, it's in the forest, there's a druid, his daughter's sick, and then they have to do, I mean, that very, very basic, that first paragraph on the Kickstarter is virtually verbatim hers. Yeah. I mean, that's what she came up with was, again, people, the forest is sick. And the adventurers have to figure out why and how. Some of these specifics later on, like the background of some of the protagonists, you know, the authors, like we kind of fleshed that out a little bit. But she did that. She helped pick several of the maps. Generally, you know, actually so the two characters and the two main NPCs in mine are Rose and Grace, who are my daughters. Actually are my daughters. You know, Rose is Harp and Grace is her sister Lily, who have actually been in games before. They are both in My Adventure Vengeful Heart, which is on Cobalt Press's Tales of the Margrave. There's a picture of them in that one. And then Harper, because ended up, so I was doing Ghoul Island, and we had actually a sequence towards the end of the book at the Dream, in the Dreamlands, which I probably shouldn't have said that because you're not supposed to know that as a player. But anyway. And if you're familiar with Cthulhu, Harper in the book, and it's a very short kind of cameo, is a very powerful dreamer like Randolph Carter. And she actually shows up. And I remember writing it, seeing her, and like looking at her in her bed. Anyway, but yeah, so she helped a lot with that. She has done a lot of kind of concept art. So I just tell her, like, all right, let's draw me a tree, or draw me this, or draw me that. And I'll start sharing those actually on the update soon, which I then sent to all the writers. So she's for an 8-year-old. And by the way, she turns 9 tomorrow.
Oh, well,
and I think this comes out. Is this in 3 days, or I think
this will come
comes
out on Wednesday? So it will be Happy Birthday yesterday.
Yeah, so she's done a lot. I mean, for an 8-year-old, she's actually done a whole lot of work on it. And I ask her every time I show her stuff, like, well, what do you think? Does this work for you? And she really likes it. So
great.
That's good. Yeah.
Has she? You say she's a gamer. Is she a keen D&D player?
She enjoys D&D. Yeah. She's played it a couple times. She always plays a stabby rogue. Yeah. That is all she wants to do. And somehow she heard this from me, and it stuck. Was because I've been playing since 0 edition, and so she's like, I backstab, because that's rogues didn't used to have a sneak attack. They had a backstab attack.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I run around and I backstab, and that's all she does is she just stabs stuff.
Good grasp of the fundamentals.
Yes, she has the fundamentals down. She plays a halfling, rogue almost always, because she needs that lucky feat.
Absolutely.
She's got to reroll.
If you get that one, then it's like all over. But then you're like, no, I'm a halfling.
Exactly. Yeah. So she's done that. We have played a little bit of. We've kind of gone through Monster of the Week, which she thinks is really cool.
Yes.
She actually.
Powered by the Apocalypse, a bit like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a little bit of
exactly.
X-Files.
Yeah. Fred's games are great. Evil Hat games are so good. The other one that we did, and this was this one's going to surprise some folks, is when after she had been diagnosed and we were home. My cousin was with us, and Haley and Harper went through Alone Against the Flames, which is a Call of Cthulhu one-player. I read it and said, well, what do you want to do? And then had them roll, and they actually survived. So my 14-year-old cousin and my 8-year-old daughter played a Call of Cthulhu game and actually did survive.
I have never, ever managed to do that.
Oh, those are good, too. All those Alone in the Whatever games are so good.
I got she likes that. I've seen you play. It's not that surprising.
You haven't seen me play Call of Cthulhu.
I have never seen you play Call of Cthulhu, that's true.
Yeah,
but no, it sounds like they've got some canny gamer chops on them.
She does. Nice. She loves to do all that stuff, and she's drawing and writing all the time.
Do you think maybe she might end up, when she's a bit older, maybe writing some of her own sort of D&D adventures and things?
You know, I think she might, or art, or who knows what. So at my house, we're super practical. So, like, I have my day job. I'm a pharmacist. I have been for 20 years. But I've been writing on the side for 7. I think I started writing for a sports magazine, I don't know, 7 years ago. Did that for a few years, and then kind of came back to this. And she understands that Dad's day job pays the bills, gets us our nice house, our insurance, and all that stuff. But that she should definitely pursue hobbies like this. And at one time, she wanted to be a mini painter in her free time. She has done some minties. I'm not sure if we could sell them on eBay, but maybe. But yeah, I have a feeling that she's gone back and forth on what she wants. She wanted to be an astrophysicist for a very long time, which was, and for like 2 years. I mean, from 6 to 8, she wanted to be an astrophysicist. Wow. I know. It's like she was talking to her anesthesiologist. Your average
6-year-old does not want to be an astrophysicist.
No, I know. We were at the hospital, and so she has to get treatments and stuff, and she has to go under occasionally. And actually, her anesthesiologist was asking her questions, and she's like, well, I want to be an anesthesiologist. They asked, like, well, do you want to be a doctor? She's like, no, I do not want to be a doctor. I do not want to be a nurse. I do not want to be a pharmacist. I want to be an astrophysicist.
Fair enough.
Because her mom's also a pharmacist, and my girlfriend is a physician. And so we have a ton of medical people, and Harper's like, hell no. I've spent enough time in hospitals. I'm going to do something else.
Yeah. I would love to be an astrophysicist, but it's far too much like hard work, I think.
I know. She likes math, so hopefully it'll be all right.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Fine.
So,
yeah.
So when you have already funded, haven't you? But when the Kickstarter...
Nope. Actually, we haven't funded. Not yet.
57%, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're at almost 7,000. We're doing 12,000 is our funding goal. Which when we hit, I think 15 is when I start to give books and stuff to everybody. And so one thing too is once it's funded, and actually and then once I've given books, like 92% of every dollar from the IndieGoGo plane will go straight to Friends of Kids. You know, I'm doing everything. Yeah, so again, it's actually and they actually are 100% funded by private donations too. So the money actually does go to them.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, but go ahead.
So when you do fund, which you most definitely will, When you do fund, when could people expect to sort of start to see these books coming out on drive-through?
Yeah, so the first one's done. I mean, I wrote the first one with Harper back at the summer, and it's posted on our updates for people to see. I get a few changes. It'll definitely get better layout when Craig gets it. The book itself, let me see. The second one came in today. The third, fourth, and fifth one are in process. Yeah, so we've been working parallel. So I started contacting writers and actually had the list locked down in April.
Right, yeah.
Nice.
And we had the outline locked down at the end of April or May. So we've all had it in our background. Everybody I have that I've picked is incredibly busy, and they're all doing it kind of off the side of their desk to make it easier for us. So I gave them a lot of time. I am hoping to send the final product out. Did I put April or May? So at the beginning of next year, in the first half of next year. Because let's just be honest, I want to get in the Indies again. So I got nominated last time for cartography. I want us to get in there for the book this time, for the Indies as well, and Origins and whatever else.
And sorry to keep on banging on about the art, but it's really nice. It's
they are so good. I know, I love it. Gwenny and Anna did amazing, and Claire's doing good too.
It's got sort of almost a cartoon style to it, but not.
Yes.
But more Avatar: The Last Airbender. That is probably the closest style I'd say it reminds me of. Not quite that way, but yeah, it's got. It's like really, really visually well laid out. It's not clowny at all. Yeah.
No, Anna and Gwenny are incredible. I could not be happier with what they've done, and they've been so good about working with us, or working with me too. That again, like I said, I mean, I would love to get a piece of art on every probably third page. And I think I'm probably going to be close to that. And if you look, and that's like art density is what we call it. You know, I know, Russ, you've done books, mini books, and actually 1 out of 3 pages, that's actually a pretty heavy, pretty good density art, actually. So that's our goal anyway. The books are gorgeous.
Art's always your biggest cost, really, isn't it? So.
It is. You know, and I did that on my, when I did Lampslide, I did a post on that Kickstarter where I told everybody exactly how much money it cost to put that. And creating 80% of the art myself, not paying myself, the book costs $6,000.
Yeah.
I mean, at least. And that was cheap. I got very, very lucky to get that. And that's not paying a writer and not paying an artist.
Even with art being the biggest cost in a book, artists still aren't paid enough. It should be more.
Right.
You know,
gosh, I hope I'm not.
But, you know, it should be more.
Yeah, gosh, I hope I'm not giving that impression. Yes, no, artists are worth every penny. A good artist that will listen and get what you're looking for, and then get it to you on time and work with you.
Yep.
I work with some really, really good ones. Anna and Gwenny are amazing. Jack Hazer's great, actually, with Shadow. I've worked with him a few times, and Matt Ray, and there's just a bunch, but. That's probably the most thing that I'm pretty excited about too, is how well the art has turned out. And again, it's a very different book visually than my last one, because that one was a sanitarium. So hopefully it looks a lot different, right?
And the backer levels, they look really good actually. Obviously, you've got the standard $1 donation, and then what's it? Harper's, and $5 is for the actual PDF. Which will be art free. Is that right?
And you know what? I'll probably end up getting that as either a Mobi or an EPUB too.
All day,
that is totally an experiment. Yeah, so that you can throw it on your Kindle or your iPad, just see what it is. I think I've only got one person backing it right now, but I'm curious about it. I know a few folks that have done it, and I love them. I absolutely love it when they're on an EPUB. But so we've got a Harper's eFriend, which is the $15. That's the full that's the full program.
So it'll be probably around that's sort of basic entry level pledge, really, though, isn't it? The $15.
And the PDF will probably
be
right. PDF probably be about 150 pages. I wouldn't be shocked if we end up closer over that, but that's my guess at this point. $21 gets you a.
Sorry to interrupt. I noticed you did it is fully indexed. Is that meaning? Rather than just being a PDF, it's like it will have hyperlinks that one can go between to get to the places?
So
is that the plan,
what I'll do is the table of contents will be indexed. So you click that, you go there.
Yeah.
I won't go quite so crazy as some of the old Paizo books where you can click within it to the rules and all that stuff. Craig does a fantastic job, though, and the PDFs that aren't indexed, I understand why, but honestly, that's something you should spend the extra 8 hours on, because it's 8 hours of awfulness.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's terrible. It's so tedious. But I pay somebody to do that for me because Craig's awesome. But yeah, it will be indexed because that makes it so much easier.
Yeah, and then for just $21, you got Harper's Friend there, which...
So that'll be a print on demand. And so when I fund, what I do, and I can't remember, Russ, if you did this. I think you might have, but I can't remember. I'll send you out a coupon. Actually, I'll end up hopefully sending you 3 coupons. So there'll be codes for softcover, hardcover premium. I will give you all 3 if you pledge for the book. You can print the book out 3 times with 3 different sets if you want, hand them out, whatever. And so what you do is you'll get a at cost printing from Drive-Thru RPG. And that's great. First off, their quality is very, very good. I was very happy with the book that they did for me previously. Rob's book they just did, what was it, Occult Philosophy, looks fantastic.
Always been happy with the quality.
I think your books, right? Yeah, your books look great too, Russ, and those were from them, I think. The other thing is so here's a news flash, and I'm being sarcastic, but I do not actually own the post office, and I have no influence on it at all, and everybody who's ever published is laughing right now because they know that. It is our bane of our existence, and I will probably never actually print my own book. Well, okay, I take that back. There's one thing I will do. But this way I have distribution in Europe. I have distribution in Australia, U.S. Is there another one, Russ?
I think it's just those 3, yeah.
Is it so? But between those 3 distributions, I actually sent a book to a guy in Belgium, and it cost literally within 25 cents of me to get it to him, as it did for me to order it and send it to myself in the US.
They print it in the UK and then ship it just over the channel.
Yeah, so that's huge. And also, you're working with Drive-Thru. Drive-Thru's fantastic.
Yes.
You could do it on your own pace too, because I have folks. I still have folks pay, printing their books from my campaign that ended, a long time ago. So yeah, I love print on demand actually, and it saves so many hassles. God, that's a big mess. So you've got a couple more tiers. You've got tiers where you can buy a book. So let's say you're not a D&D person, as crazy as that is. It happens. How does that happen? But, you can actually just buy a book for Friends of Kids. And you don't, you get stuff, but you don't have to do anything with it, of course. But you send the book to them, and that tier, I think, is that $45?
$45, Friends of Kids with Cancer.
Yeah, so that actually includes a physical book hand-delivered to Friends of Kids with Cancer.
Yeah, 15 out of the possible 50 have already been claimed. So you want to get in.
Yep. Yeah. And then the next one is, I think, one for you, one for me, which is basically everybody gets a book, which is nice. The next one after that is, I'm going off the top of my head because I'm in front of me, but is Memorial one, basically where you get to, in honor of, is that it?
There's Dedicated Friend.
A dedicated friend.
To name an NPC item or location.
Yep. Yeah. That one's going pretty fast, actually. I actually upped the link. I actually upped the number on that one because we were hitting the top fast. So again, you give me a name.
Claimed, so
it was 20 until yesterday. I'm like, we need to keep that going. So if you've actually, Russ read it. So in the first adventure, if you pull it out, you'll actually see sections where I wrote down
to be renamed by a
so we'll get you in there, put some names in there, and that's a pretty easy one for folks. The other $75 one is actually playing a game.
Yes.
With the designer that wrote it.
Oh, I see. So not necessarily yourself, but more the other people.
It will probably not be me, as busy as I get, because I actually I talked about it and we'd looked at it a lot. I think, how many are there? 8? I think Ben, Don, Hannah, like 3 or 4 of my designers actually said I'd absolutely run a game for somebody.
Yeah. Nice.
And the one above, what's the next one up?
Next one I've got is Kid's Best Friend.
That's the $200 tier, right?
Yes.
So that one sold out at the moment. I might increase it. I'm kind of thinking about that. So that was originally 6. That became 10. And what that is you actually are going to get all the other stuff, but you're also going to you're going to design either a location, an NPC, an item with art.
Yes.
For the game. And, actually, so my first backer was the amazing Matt Lillard. from Scream and Scooby-Doo and Beetle and Grimm. Matt is an awesome guy. He's so... I don't know if you guys ever met him, but he is fantastic.
Well, Matt, I've got some news for you, my friend. You've all 10 have been sold out, so people are like...
Yeah, but Russ, I know. It's so... But the art... I know, I need to. I know. So what I want to do is I'm probably going to bump it back up. The challenge is that when we have our backers in there, I don't want it to delay the book too much.
No.
And my backers, I'm sure, will be fantastic. But so I've essentially added 10 more writers to my other 9 just to get to this 10. So I now have 19 people working on this book. And so it's hard because I love that back. I mean, everybody really likes that tier. So I probably will back it up again or maybe do something different. But so those, I think that's our tiers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's all of them, I think. And they've been going great.
Yeah. It's been really, really wonderful having you on, Matt. A real pleasure. And
thank you.
Really
thank you both. I appreciate
best of luck with the IndieGoGo campaign. I know you'll fund. Like, you'll do really, really well with this. I know Matt Mercer gave you a shout-out as well, didn't he?
It's been 3 days. 57%. It's really special.
Matt Mercer gives a shout out, but you know what, Matt, if you're listening, feel free to keep doing it. Matt Colville, you can, Sam, Liam, Marisha, Laura, Travis, all you guys. Feel free to shout out as much as you want. All right. Well, like I said, thank you guys so much. Folks can find me at Matthew D. Corley. That's where I am on Twitter. I'm there all the time.
Yeah, we'll have links in the show notes to everything, so everyone can just click through and they'll be able to jump through to the IndieGoGo, to you on Twitter, all that sort of stuff.
Excellent.
It'll be nice and easy for people to find, and I really do wish you the best of luck. You don't need it because you're going to do...
I know. I was telling my partner Kelly yesterday. I'm like, man, once we fund, I can finally get a decent night's sleep.
And on that note, I'm going to get on there. I haven't actually backed it yet, so I better get on there and do that.
Yeah, but thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been an absolute
Thanks, guys.
pleasure.
I appreciate it. I'd love to come back and talk anytime about anything.
We would love to have you back.
So this is super fun. Yeah, like I said, Sandy has Ghoul Island going today too. So I've got apparently 2 Kickstarters going right now.
Okay, is this your other one you've got going on, Ghoul Island?
Yeah, so for Sandy Peterson, like Sandy of Call of Cthulhu Peterson.
Yeah.
Does 5th edition now.
Right.
This is the first adventure path, so I wrote it. Sandy sent me the outline and helped me with pieces of it, and so 4 books. Each book's anywhere from 70 to 100 pages long. We're doing it as a serial, kind of like Paizo does.
Yeah.
Today it starts at some point. Takes you from level 1 to 15. You're on an island. You have a great old one. It's ghouls. I'm very happy with it, actually. I think it turned out really well.
So we're sort of mixing and mashing. We've got some D&D. We're throwing in some horror. You've got it split over, 4 books?
4 books, 15 adventures.
Whew.
I wrote them all. So if you look around, actually, I think there is a free PDF of most of the first adventure that he'll put on there, so you can grab it and look. And of course, I mean, Sandy's artists are great. It's pretty neat, totally different than Harper's Tale, but
absolutely different thing. But that's just your versatility going through. Fantastic.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on.
Bye.
Apparently, I now have to read this to you. This is the official podcast of Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG news, which you can find at enworld.org. You can find show notes at morris.podbean.com or wherever you found the podcast. If you feel like they deserve it, you can support the show on Patreon. In return, you will receive exclusive bonus content. Just go to patreon.com/Morris. If you're interested in his babbling nonsense, you can follow @Morris on the Twitter. Send your emails to morrispodcast@gmail.com. Not all of your emails, just the ones you want us to see. That's it. I'm bored now. You can go away. Shoo, off you go. Goodbye. Get out of here.